Ajoka Silva, actor. Been an actor for 45 years this year. I always say actor, but in fact it's actor, producer, sometime director, trainer, and also I co-run, I should say, the Glover Memorial Hall, which has been around since 1887, the oldest event space in Nigeria. In the early years, there were quite a few, all right? So I would say if we're looking at the Yoruba sector, which was for TV, I would say it was Amdalat in Urolojo. This girl, I was in my 30s at the time, but I was playing her from her late teens into her 40s, and creating a character right throughout those decades was really challenging, interesting, and also performing in Yoruba was really good. I mean, I was teased by all the other Yoruba actors a lot, sometimes because of my choice of words and things, but it was great fun. I enjoyed playing Amdalat a lot. She was a girl who kind of discovered her sexuality as the I guess you would call her a dangerously naive young woman who got caught in a trap between two older people and found herself pregnant, and getting her mother and then her mother took charge, allowed her to have the baby, and she continued with her education. So that was, I loved the story, I loved the character. That was for theater, but when we talk of that was for TV. But when we talk of theater, my first love had to be Omajua in The King Must Dance Naked. It was so hard getting her, because she was a woman who had to pretend to be a man, and then she had to now become a woman by the end of the play. You had to see her take off all the male regalia and all that. But before then, she had to be a man ruling a kingdom. And it was so hard getting into her until Uncle Fred Abegbe, who was the writer, then came to me and said, I think there's something in my head, there's something in me. He came to watch a performance, and a rehearsal, and he kept saying, there's something in my head. Came back the next day and gave me a song, and said, why don't you play this and sing? And once I had the song, I don't know why, but the song brought everything together, and I was able to. So and it kind of brought me to, I'm talking about 1993, and it brought me to the attention of the theater-going audience. It was that was really great. And then if you come to home video, it would then have to be Mama Tega in Violated. So those three different platforms. Yeah, it was great. Sorry? Oh, the song for the theater. My voice is not as it used to be, but it was a Shakiri song. Something about Hangama bemi wu, hangama bemi fo, ejuta nikwa ngafekpa, teche te gbori, anyume santo job, anyume santo joyo, ekororo ye tomi omio, itogwa dide twale. Now, what happens at that time is that everybody's saying that she has to dance naked, and she's resisting it. And, she tells them that, you all have to, the crown is on my head, whether you like it or not. All of you have to bow down to me. And, in the theater, it's great fun.
Speak.
I've always been a pretty assertive person, all right? So maybe this, for me, it's always been, this is what I want to do. And I go ahead and I do it. Okay, so am I navigating through the lens of men, or am I navigating trying to bring down the barriers that it's not, let's put it like, it's not conscious. Do you get what I mean? So if they have been there, one hasn't kind of noticed it. Now, I'm sure you're saying to yourself now, as president of Women in Film and TV, so why do you have an organization like that? I just feel that if you want anything badly enough, you can go ahead and get it. Yes, I think that's where I stand. Are there obstacles in the way to prevent you from doing that? I believe that you should be able to navigate it, and if you can't, get help in navigating it. I'm waiting for us to do more historical women. I mean, I love the response to Funmilayo Ransome Kuti. One finds that a lot of women were like, they had no idea that this woman did this much, But there are so many women. There's Idia, for instance, who has been. I mean, she's a character that I played in the theater. I'd like to see her brought to film. Idia is incredible, and what she was able to do, she was able to get her son on the throne and stay on the throne, There's Idia, there's Alimoto Pelewura, who was the very first market woman in Nigeria. There's and she was the mentor of Abibatu Mogaji. And then looking at it, yes, these are incredible women. And then there's this woman from the north that I would love. I want to play Alimoto, I want to play Idia, and I want to play Gambo Sawaba. And I know that there are some Hausa actresses who will like, no way, they're the ones who are good. But Gambo Sawaba for me is so inspirational. She was in prison 16 times, but she was one of these women, yes, a northern woman of our contemporary history, who was insistent on young people, whether male or female, getting an education. And she fought, and every time she fought for it, she was put in prison. She actually left her suitcase packed, whenever she came out and had what do you call it? Contretemps with someone and got some children into school. She knew she was going to be put in prison. She just carried her suitcase and she went, yes, incredible woman. I'd love to play her as well. We have so many amazing people in our history, so many contemporary and past history. Another woman that I'd love to play is my mom, one day. Yes, she was one of the earliest female doctors in Nigeria, and how it would have been navigating so many of the things that she did. A lot of stories. She told me a lot of stories. She told me, but since her passing, I mean, there's a book that we've written about her that's coming out this year. But just as an observer of her life, she was incredible. First of all, is the fact that so many people are coming into the industry and are coming in consciously wanting to be in the industry. There's some, a lot of times, sometimes people just found themselves in it. It's finding more people consciously coming into the industry, consciously, wanting to be properly skilled in the industry, all right? Whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, whether, for me, I'm excited about that. And I also like what the government is trying to do now, which is they realize the kind of support that the industry needs. They understand the power. They understand the the contribution of the industry from one end to the other, what it gives, the contribution of the industry to the society, but also understanding that it needs a lot of support, especially financial support. So I know that they're working towards making that possible. And I like the fact that, the way the various parts of the ecosystem have been mapped out. I'm looking forward to seeing everything take off. Yeah. Every time you reach a particular stage and then there's something else you want to do. There's something else. So there's always something that you want to see happen. I'm looking forward to specifically maybe 3 things, not just for me, but for my industry. First of all, I'm looking forward to a time when our theatre is buzzing so much that we don't just have one theatre company that's functioning to an optimum. I want even that theatre company, I know the struggles that they have. I'm talking about Terra Culture. I know the struggles they have, and I know that they'd love to do more, they'd love to be in a bigger space. So I'm looking forward to a time when the theatre as an industry is flourishing and it's thriving around Nigeria. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a time in my lifetime. I want to see, for me, that would be success in my lifetime, to see us to work on international productions. And we're not at the lower level of the production. We are the ones who are directors of photography, directors, across board. That's what I'd like to see. I look forward to that time. I look forward to, and then I'm hoping that, no, I think let's stop at those 2 things. Yes. No, okay. I know what the third one is. The third one would be to see people in this industry thriving, flourishing, and doing more than making a living.